Lonely Monk Productions. That's my Jawn! What's good, friends and family, neighbors near and far? Welcome to an all-new episode of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. The podcast, website, brand, movement, way of life dedicated to the embrace and championing of your passions. I'm your host, Nate Runkle, a.k.a. Jolly Old Saint Nate, a.k.a. Nate 3.0, back at it again with yet another episode of the podcast. As always, I hope this podcast finds you all in good health and in good spirits. And I am in the best of spirits, the most Christmas festive of spirits, because I am joined today by my good two pals, the brothers Ferris, James and DX.
Woo!
Gentlemen.
Ho, ho, ho!
Welcome back. This is my favorite time of year. I love getting together with you dudes and talking.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Nate.
And Nate, to set the scene, last year we were in a Christmas chalet and sitting in front of a warm fire talking about our favorite Christmas media. This year, on the way back from the chalet, our plane crashed. We were in the middle of the wilderness, but we're not going to let that get us down.
Fortunately, your laptop is still charged.
Yes, and we're going to talk more Christmas.
That's
hey, Nate,
right.
I want to open up with a present for you. I got a new handle for you.
Okay.
The Runkyard Dog.
Yo.
So there you go. You can use that.
I like that. That's going in the chamber.
Merry effing Xmas.
Have you never heard that before?
I have not. That's a good one.
Merry
Chick, chick,
Christmas.
boom.
Look at you.
One for one. Thank you. I'm out, guys. I'll see you next year.
So for those who may have missed the past two times we've done this, every year I like to get together with my pals and I like to talk Christmas with two fellow Christmas aficionados. Before we get started, this year we're going to try a little something different. But before we get started, any new Christmas media enter into your lexicon? Anything new or new to you?
I'm going to talk about one of them in our things that we like. But in the last couple of years, I have discovered a group called the Good Lovelies. The Good Lovelies. They do some spindly, old-timey, not quite country, but not Western, but old-timey country numbers. It's an all-woman group. They do a lovely Santa Baby, Melika they do that, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. I have a couple of them on this year's DXmas list. So the Good Lovelies, just nice, warm, fun. And Anna Gasteyer from Saturday Night Live a couple years ago dropped a pretty good Christmas album that's enjoyable. She does some standards, does some original funny stuff. She does some blues. She's very good too. Also, final one, where is she? There's a singer that, indie pop or indie popular, like pop type music, Alex Horms, WHORMS. And I'm not going to degrade her with any kind of mnemonics on how to remember that, but WHORMS. If you just need some happy, upbeat, positive, like unchallenging Christmas music, because we do love our challenging Christmas music.
We do indeed.
That's what I got.
I was going to say all the exact same things Dave said. But no, there's nothing new I've come across, but there's some stuff I've gone deeper into, which I'll talk about when we get through when we get into the Jauntlet.
Excellent. For me, it's a little sparse this year. Like a lot of people were dropping Christmas stuff this year. I think just because streaming makes it so easy to do so. There's this borderline almost made my Christmas hate. The Jimmy Fallon released a Christmas album this year.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
It's mostly terrible.
Why you got to bring that up?
But I have to shout out the song Hallmark Movie, which just blew me away. It is so much better than it has any right to be.
See, there you go.
Then it
Carrying
probably
water
wasn't
for
his
Jimmy
idea.
Fallon again.
Another one, Jennifer Hudson released a Christmas album it's a lot of standards and stuff. But there's a song on there with Common called Almost Christmas. And it fucking hit me in the feels when it came on shuffle. I was kind of shocked by it.
The Gift of Love, are we talking?
The album is The Gift of Love. That is correct.
I'm looking that up and putting that on my list and checking it twice.
And then I have to, of course, shout out G Love dropped his third Christmas album, Fishing for Christmas. And it's got some good stuff on there. There's a good rocker called I Saw Santa. And then
You
the
said that
last
was his third Christmas album?
third Christmas album.
I didn't even know he had a second Christmas
It's
Get
album.
with
crazy.
the program, man.
He just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping them. But of course, the final one that I have to call attention to is Volume 3 of the Christmas Jawns. That's right. The Yo, That's My Jawn, the podcast presents the Christmas Jawns. Volume 3 playlist will be up by the time this episode's out. It's my playlist of songs by former guests of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. And there was a bunch of guests that I had this year who have some banger Christmas music that I've been waiting to be able to share on a playlist.
What about the rated NC-17 song that you and I collaborated on?
Well,
On?
we should get that up on streaming so that I can add it to the playlist. That's actually
See how you are? I'm out of here.
Feed the lyrics into AI and see what happens.
I bet their version's better than mine. But no, that's got a new Christmas song on it by Dawes called Christmas Tree in the Window, and it's all about this burglar who's about to rob a place, but he stops from robbing it because of the Christmas tree in the window. It's really awesome. And then the other one that really excites me that's on this one is Santa Drives an Astrovan, which is the Philly specials. It's Jason Kelsey, Jordan Mailata, and Lane Johnson from the Philadelphia Eagles. It's from their third and final Christmas album, Philly Special Christmas Party.
Are those the guys that did Fairy Tale of New York, except Philly?
Yes, exactly. That is exactly right. But Santa Drives an Astrovan is a rework of the Mountjoy song Astrovan, replacing Jesus for Christmas, which is or for Santa Claus, which is kind of funny in the, I have a problem with people replacing tense of the word. So check that out. Santa Drives an Astrovan, Christmas Jawns. It'll be linked in the thing here. But yeah, man.
Sweet. Hey, I got one more.
What do you got?
Andre Hermlin and his Swing Dance Orchestra. Andre Hermlin, Hermlin. If you want some like old-timey black tie affair flappers going out on New Year's Eve wearing tuxes and stuff, they do numbers like Happy Holiday, the Jingle Bell Polka, big hit, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, What Will Santa Claus Say? So they got a lot of those jazz age standards down if you're looking for something a little more subdued.
That's cool. I definitely got to check that out. Well, so this year, in the past, we've talked about Christmas music. We've talked about Christmas TV specials. And this year, we're just going to kind of talk about the things we like. So we're each going to bring you 3 likes and also 'tis the season, 1 loathe. One thing, I like to traffic in being the positive guy, but something about this year, something happened recently that made me a little less positive.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, loathe is a really strong word. Can we just say dislike?
Okay, that's fine. I'll allow dislike. Though when we get to mine, I loathe mine. You can dislike yours. I fucking hate mine.
Your loathe isn't tied up and gagged behind you at a shot, is it?
It is not.
He's going to sacrifice him live.
That's right. No, keep your eyes open. Okay.
Nate's good old traditional Christmas murders.
That's
and
right.
not murders in the sense that the Celtic people practice it.
So let's dig into our likes. Let's start with our number 3 like. James, I'm just going to go in order of how I see you on my screen. James, let's let you go first. What do you got?
Right, my number three like is we all have our habits, and then we all have our Christmas traditions. And I have this one Christmas habit / tradition I always do. And it's kind of always been a deep, dark secret of mine. But what I do right around Christmas time, I pick a day when the wife's going to be at work all day. I know the kids are going to be at school. Make sure there's nobody else in the house. I go downstairs. I draw the curtain so the neighbors can't see what I'm about to do. Turn on the TV. I go down to the basement to where I keep all my DVDs. I get up and I put You've Got Mail. And I watch that shit and it's one of the best parts of the holiday season for me. Now, lately, I've been switching it up a little bit. Sometimes I also watch Serendipity featuring John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale. But either one of those movies, I always make it a point to watch right around Christmas time. Now, they're not quote unquote Christmas movies, they're kind of Christmas adjacent. Serendipity opens at Christmas, it closes at Christmas, but again, there's not really a Christmas theme to it. You've Got Mail kind of has Christmas as the backdrop, but I have found going into my old age, they're kind of like a nice warm cup of cocoa for me, especially around Christmas time. I watch them, I know nothing terrible is going to happen, I know nobody's going to die, I know how it's going to end, everything's going to be happy. It's some real nice, comforting shit.
I like it. I like it. Now, so you're watching You Got Mail. Ever any room for the shop around the corner that it's based on?
You know, yesterday we're flipping through the channels of my in-laws, and Shop Around the Corner is on like whatever channel. I'm like, okay, I can watch this. And I sit there and I watch it for 30 seconds, and I'm like, I can't watch this.
Okay.
This
Not
my bag.
most people are not, even professional actors, most of them are simply not Tom Hanks. And it's hard to overcome that.
But I pulled up the guide on Comcast, and you know what was on another channel that was just starting? You've Got Mail.
Ah, there you go. Sweet old warm blanket that is You Got Mail. I love it. That's a good one. It's a very good one. I haven't seen it in forever, but I still always chuckle at the fact that Dave Chappelle's in that, right?
Yeah, for a hot minute. Yeah. And we don't have to talk about it too much, but one of the things I really like about both movies, and I kind of referenced this already, is they're Christmas adjacent. You know, you don't go into them with expecting a Christmas movie that just bashes you over the head with "It's Christmas, it's Christmas, it's Christmas." No, there's Christmas stuff going on. There's Christmas in the background, but there's not any Christmas lessons. There's no Christmas wackiness with a tree and some reindeer and Santa Claus, but the vibe's there,
I like it. I like it a lot. DX, what do you got for your first like?
Hey, so I'm going to call an audible. I had notes that I was ready to read from and pretending I was being spontaneous, but I'm getting in the spirit already here. And this is an intro. This is not the thing itself, but I love late at night at Christmas. Like, it takes a lot to get me to go to sleep, so I almost always fall asleep on the couch watching TV before I can have a full night's sleep. And I love just sitting there in the darkness with some soft white non-LED lights out on the deck and on the tree and just lounging in that atmosphere. It's good. It's one of my favorite times of the year. And something I'd like to do during that is watch Christmas things. And one of the Christmas things that I love to watch, I swear this is music. The man behind this passed away last year or this year suddenly. What I'm talking about is a documentary about Christmas music and Christmas music collectors called Jingle Bell Rocks. And it was directed by the late, great Mitchell Kezin, who was a great guy, a generous guy, the biggest fan of Christmas music you could ever want to meet. He was a filmmaker, a writer, former bartender, so we kind of bonded over that. And I got into it maybe 20 years ago, and was it that long ago? It was a long time ago, when it was a new release on video. And when I was writing a book about Donnie Iris and the Cruisers, I needed some expert testimony about his Christmas album. So I thought I'll reach out to the Christmas music documentary guy. I'll see if he has anything to say about it. And he was very generous with his time and his energy. Some people say they like Christmas music, but they're very snobby and particular about what they like and don't like. He was just happy to hear something new. He liked it. He was enthusiastic. And it was, to me, it was such an honor. We kept in touch and we talked shop, and anytime I'd run something past him, like, do you like this? He would never be like, nah, I don't, I'm not really into it. He was enthusiastic, and he had some health issues that were chronic. He had a rough last couple of years. And last year, he posted his Christmas mix and he wasn't able to finish it. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd. This guy's such a pro. And it turns out that he was, in fact, dying. And that's why he couldn't finish his Christmas mix. But he was such a good dude. And the documentary, it features like the Flaming Lips, and it features all sorts of like national champion music collectors like Andy Surzan, the legendary Christmas person. And when I say it's magic, I swear, I've been watching it for like 15, 20 years now, whatever. And every year there is some segment in it that I've never seen before. I know for a fact. I mean, I'm getting older. My memory is failing. But I know somehow through some sort of mystical process, new segments appear in it every year. Whether I'm watching the DVD or streaming it on Canopy with a K, free with your library card. So if you like Christmas music, it's a nice celebration of that. I think this documentary really leveled up the culture. It made people all over the country that were sort of into their own siloed off little world of Christmas music realized there were a lot more people like that. And then power of the internet, we were all able to connect and really elevate the game. So Mitchell Kezin, Kezin, I missed that guy. He was humble, he was great, he was generous, and he left a real mark on the things that he loved. And I wish he were around to talk about music and not his documentary. And I wish I could ask him some more stupid questions about it.
Yeah, that's an incredible answer. And what a dude to be able to pick his brain. Like, I would have loved to have had him as a guest on the show to be able to just kind of dig in, and he would have made a great fourth chair. We could have had a great little thing there.
We would have just sat here and listened to him talk for an hour.
Yes, yeah, 10,000%.
What do you like, Nate?
So my third this is a good segue. Talking about Christmas music. I think I've told this before, that there was a period of time where I hated Christmas music, and it was because I worked in retail in the mall. And what it took me a while to realize was
they take your favorite music and beat you to death with it.
That's exactly it. But even more so than that, it wasn't that I hated Christmas music. It was that I hated bad Christmas music, or like cliche and overplayed Christmas music. So I've been kind of, coming home, so to speak, to Christmas music over the past few years. And one of the things I realized that feels like a giant warm blanket, and I know it seems hipster to say this, but like Christmas music on vinyl just hits differently. The process, everything about it feels like Christmas to me, like putting on a Christmas record. And, I inherited my dad's entire vinyl collection, which includes a lot of the stuff that I grew up listening to. So like revisiting old Christmas albums that I haven't heard in, decades has been amazing. But a lot of the stuff that I even have come to love now, finding on vinyl, I love even more. This week, and this is where this kind of popped in my head to put this on my list. This week, I was sitting down to listen to the album that we've all come to love, the new millennia classic Socks by J.D. McPherson.
Classic.
And this album on vinyl feels like it fits in with the fucking canon, man. It is so perfect and so warm, and it sounds so good. And like that vinyl came to me from 1958 or something like that. It's absolutely incredible. And that's what, as I was sitting there and I'm going through some of the other stuff I have, even I mentioned the Philly specials. They've released all three on vinyl, very expensive vinyl, but vinyl, it all goes to charity. So I feel all right about it, kind of. But anyway, but just listening to these recordings on wax is just really can very quickly put me into the spirit, even if I'm in a bad mood.
Kind of along those lines, last season I came across this very late, and I may have hipped you to it, but if you go to YouTube and search Kmart Christmas music, somebody went and digitized the in-house music tapes that Kmart would play over the PA system from Thanksgiving until Christmas. And it's got all the announcements like, welcome to Kmart, where you can get your best Christmas deals. Here's Jingle Bells. And on the one hand, yeah, it's crass on it's all consumerism, but oh my God, it's pure magic.
Can't get that stuff no more.
No, it's crazy. That stuff, YouTube and archive.org and stuff, like I can't tell you how many hours of my life I have spent just watching the things I used to skip, right? So like watching shows with the commercial breaks put back in and going, "Oh my God, I had that," or "Oh, I forgot all about that commercial. I hadn't even thought about that in years." Those kind of things are it is like keeping a record of things is pretty nice, isn't it?
And I go into Target now, and I'm like, there's no Christmas music. In fact, there's no music of any kind. And once you realize it's not there, it strikes you as weird.
For sure, for sure. What do you got for number two, like?
Well, number two, it's funny you mentioned J.D. McPherson's Socks albums, because that is kind of what I wanted to talk about. But use that as an introduction to a wider discussion about modern Christmas music. Like, we've mentioned that album before, I think, on both podcasts over the years. And, if you run into somebody who's especially hip, like you mentioned that to them, they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's great. It's awesome."
Because it's awesome and it only gets better every single time.
But, outside that pocket of people, not a lot of people know about it. It is, a fantastic Christmas album for many reasons. And Nate, you and I kind of talked about this a little bit offline, but I was listening to the radio and Wonderful Christmas Time by McCartney came on. And you dislike that song actively. I don't mind it. But, it's basically just like, it's Christmas, it's Christmas, it's Christmas, it's Christmas. And it struck me hearing that the classic Christmas song is a hard nut to crack. Even the Beatles could not do it. I bet you could pull together like, a dozen songs that the Beatles wrote about Christmas, and none of them, maybe they're not necessarily bad, but none of them are classics either. And so what I wanted to use this as an introduction to, like, why are there no great new Christmas classics anymore? What is it going to take?
Do you want me to get out the red string? Because I'm about to spiral. Do you want it? Do you want
Well,
it?
before you start, I'm going to say that I think decentralized or centralized media, rather, centralized media with, a lack of voices and a lack of outlets and everything being central, I think that's a big part of it. You don't have a lot of different radio stations where a song like Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer can break in San Francisco, as the article that you gifted to us was explaining. Thank you, James. So commercial airwaves are bought and paid for the most part. And it's not to a plurality of voices. So I think that's a big part of it. There are things out there that maybe could be new classics. We can talk about those, but there aren't a lot of outlets for them. So we're all siloed off together.
Yeah, and instead what we get is, the 80th version of Last Christmas.
Let's put a pin on the 80th version of Last Christmas for later in this conversation. Spoiler. But my red string is that with the advent of streaming, be it Spotify or be it Netflix or be it anything, we don't let things disappear anymore. So you can't become nostalgic for something that's always there. Okay. And like the main driver we've talked about it in the past of Christmas is nostalgia, right? And so if things don't
Nobody
go
will
away,
ever say, whatever happened to All I Want for Christmas Is You?
that's right.
Nobody's
It's right
ever going to
there.
say, you don't hear that anymore. I remember that.
That's right. That's right. You can't, there's no member berries to eat with streaming. And like, I honestly think this is why media has become as disposable as it has, is because like, I think about like TV shows of the past. All right. That like we were growing up. Like I think about I think probably once a week do I think about the TV show Automan. All right, which was like a one-season show. I loved it as a kid, and I couldn't even tell you if it's good because it's not available anywhere, right? Whereas if that came out, this year and it was taken off, you'd still be able to find it on probably like Tubi or something like that next year, right? Because things don't go away. You don't long for them. They don't. There's no way to grow myth. Like it's just there. And so I think that's the problem with Christmas music. Like, maybe the last, what would you say is the last ubiquitous Christmas song that came out? Underneath the Tree, Kelly Clarkson, maybe?
Yeah.
I
And
don't
that's
even qualify that.
right. And that's on the cusp. Okay.
Well, that's it. That's in the retail world. Like if you spend more time there, like if you didn't shop at Target, but it's better than shopping at Walmart. So
But yes, that's my long running theory. One of my many reasons why streaming is the end of culture.
as Patton Oswalt said, everything that ever was available forever.
That's it. That's it. And things should go away. Like things should really go away. I really do think. I don't think everything's worth saving. As much as I just said, I spend hours on days watching old commercials on YouTube.
No, I mean that's the real measure of media to me. You know, I talk about this all the time when I don't do it so much anymore, but when I review albums, like when something is new, everybody's excited. Yeah, it sounds great. But then 2 weeks later, we've forgotten about it after giving it that 5-star review. So the real, I don't know if you can call it a metric, but the real sign if something is good is if you come back to it. You know, sure, you liked it in the moment, but I mean, when websites run the list of the 10 Saturday Night Live sketches from last night that you need to watch, I don't know if you need to watch all those. You're just doing it because you need to generate some content. You know, the real magical stuff is the things that people are organically talking about. You know, what do we want to talk about? What do we find ourselves going back to? Do we reach for the album? What, you know, year after year, do we reach for J.D. McPherson?
For sure.
So that's the metric. You know, what do we actually want versus what is just blasted at us?
I dig it. James, was that a like?
That was a like. That was a like.
Okay.
It
I like
started
it.
off as a like. It took a nasty turn.
DX, what do you got?
Man, so this one is it's kind of broad. I'll try to keep it brief, but the work of Raymond Briggs, 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 is a longtime British illustrator who became an author of picture books. And while his work is brilliant and he is a genius storyteller, he is primarily an artist to the degree that his best work does not even need words. So his best known work is probably the snow. No, probably about it. It is the Snowman. Have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So his greatest work is the Snowman, and that's well known. I'll talk about another one too. The Snowman in its proper form, and there are different ones I'll talk about too. But the Snowman has no words. It's just a picture book, and that's magic. I wish I could make something like that. So the Snowman exists as a book with no words. It's also a magical animated special that runs 25 minutes. That is a great Christmas time thing. Spoilers, Santa Claus pops up in it. And it also exists as a children's book for young readers and parents who are creatively challenged and can't read a picture book to their kids. So it has some narrative to it. It has some words, but it doesn't really need them. It exists in different forms. He has another similarly moving piece and similarly magical called The Bear, though. Have either of you seen The Bear?
I have not.
Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the
What a
same.
different bear. Different bear.
It's about these people that work in a restaurant and they have a Christmas, let me tell you. No, this is a different bear. This is about a girl who has it's like the Nutcracker in that, it becomes unclear whether it's a dream that she's having or whether it's actually happening, or in a child's mind 10 years later, when you look back, is it important that it was real or not? It's magical. It's mystical. It's called The Bear. It existed first as a oversized picture book, graphic novel size, and it has some words in it, but it doesn't need a lot. They turned it into a animated special that, in its prime, real, true form, is tremendous. It doesn't have any words in it, but the version that you can get commercially has narration by Judi Dench. That I see why producers would think that might be necessary, but It doesn't really enhance it. Like the pictures are so well done and the animation is so well done. You don't need somebody explaining to you what you're seeing right there. Now, enhancing both of these stories is the work of one of the great creative people of our age, Howard Blake. Howard Blake writes original music for both of those. So both of these have strong musical components. The Snowman, of course, has the song "Walking in the Air," which exists in, like the story itself, in different forms. There's a vocal version that is iconic in Britain that you definitely know and have heard, and I love that. I think that captures Christmas music like few other things. It exists in just a piano version, and it was also covered by Frightened Rabbit in a very deep, affecting way that is not exactly as wondrous and magical, but is very transcendent and affecting, I think. James hit me to that.
That's what's up. Did you ever see the I guess this was like a year or two ago. Duncan Jones did a thing about the snowman that his dad left him the scarf, and he
Well,
like.
you're putting the horse before the cart there, Nate. You need to preface that by saying that certain versions of the Snowman cartoon feature narration by David Bowie.
Yes, yeah. It seems I have just assumed that everybody knew what we were talking about.
The so beloved and so perfect and so iconic is the Snowman animated version that they tried to add David Bowie into it, and it didn't quite work, and they removed him. And I mean, how perfect does something have to be that David Bowie does not improve it?
That's right. Yeah, the Duncan Jones thing made me cry though, because I was just like, what a special, like you get it. Like you ever like just like sometimes I just get emotional when people like understand the magic of things. And that hit me. That
I need to
absolutely.
find that. But Howard Blake, and I'll wrap it up. Howard Blake is an OBE, Order of the British Empire, just like Tommy Shelby. So that guy is so good at writing music that he was decorated. The Bear has a wonderful song in it called "Somewhere a Star Shines for Everyone." And that's out there in a few different forms. I don't think the version from the show is commercially available, but the group The Innocence Mission does a wonderful version of it that I've used on my DX mix in the last year or two. So if you need a good non-Christmas song that's just nice and quiet and magical, "Somewhere a Star Shines for Everyone," The Innocence Mission. So just the work of Raymond Briggs will take you into a Christmassy place that is not all that jingle bells, ho, ho, ho stuff. And I love that.
That's awesome. I absolutely love it. My second one is as much as I may not appear it to people, I'm a fat kid at heart, and I like food. I like snacks. I like junk, and there is
Nobody's into
nothing.
food anymore, man. Come on. Get
Yeah,
out of here.
I'll be the last sole survivor of that, my friend. I love Christmas goodies, I really do, and not just like readily available ones either. Specifically, ones that friends and family make. I'm gonna run through a list of some of them just to specifically shout out these what I like to call genius creators of taste. My Aunt Claudie makes a poor man's fruit cake that she gives to everyone every year that I look forward to maybe more than Christmas itself. Also, her peanut butter cookies are fucking fire. There's a guy that I used to work with. His name's Richie. And every year he used to work for a bakery, and every
You
year
guys call each other cousin?
I do call him Guy. And every year, because he used to work for this bakery, he makes from scratch sugar cookies and sweetbread and brings them in. And he retired a year and a half ago, and I'm 99.9% sure he's still going to show up and drop these cookies off. And it's just like the love of creating all of these and rolling them by scratch and stuff like that. Absolutely phenomenal. My wife makes these avalanche cookies that are just also known as like kitchen sink cookies. They have like fucking everything in it, and my God, like you can eat one and then you're like, hey man, I think I'm done. Like that's how powerful these things are. And the last one, her Aunt Kirsten makes these Mary Berry cheese bars that are just, but like Christmas snacks, man. Like, and it makes me wonder, like, why can't we have these all year round? Why only once a year? But I guess that would.
You want streaming for cookies.
I went streaming for yeah. Goddamn! All I want for Christmas is you. I can listen to it all points
You
in time.
can't stream a cookie.
That's
So I got two Christmas treats that I always go crazy for. One of them is family we grew up with, the Grimes family. Their mom, to this day, will show up on my doorstep once, sometimes twice a year with nut roll for me.
oh
And
god.
it's nut roll from the Mon Valley. It's from, I don't know what little grocery store that still operates there, but she'll just show up with like a nice foot-long nut roll. And I cut it in half, and I refrigerate half of it so it stays longer because it takes me a while to get through it. But then I just, work my way through that first half of the nut roll. It might take me 2 or 3 weeks, but then I have that entire second half waiting for me at the end of that.
Like New York City, like Chicago, the area that we're from is one of those places where the water is just a little bit different and it makes things taste different.
Don't get Dave started on pepperoni rolls.
Oh, yeah.
But the other thing I treat myself to, and this has become a tradition in our household, is there's a place in Pittsburgh that sells imported chocolate bars. And I always go there right before Christmas. I spent $90 there this week. But I buy as much imported English Cadbury's chocolate as I can find. Because if you know, again, as Nate was saying, if you know, you know.
You know what's better than Cadbury English imported proper chocolate?
What's that?
Nothing.
You're right. You're right. When Dave and I went to Ireland a couple years ago and we climbed the tallest freestanding mountain in Ireland, just us two, you know what we took with us? Cadbury.
And it magically transported us up there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, no, man, snacks are great. Like the Christmas junk food is like no other. We know how to indulge.
Yeah, yeah.
DX, what you got for number 3? Are we on 3 already?
So number 3, this is where we're getting into the inappropriate part of the conversation, but I'll tone it down. I've mentioned this to you guys before, but this is really making my Christmas this year. I'm very busy this year. You guys know that I'm working on this book update that I wanted to have out by Halloween, and now I'm going to be lucky to have it out a week before Christmas. It's just killing me. I'm giving like every single waking hour to it. So I'm not really having Christmas this year. I'm not having the quiet moments where I get to just sit and lounge in the tree and watch shows with the people and go out and sing Christmas carols and skate on the pond and such. I'm just like go, go, go. And when I sit down at night and I finally start watching something, I fall asleep. So I haven't made it to the end of the Trailer Park Boys Christmas special yet. So this piece of Christmas music is really making my ear. It's something I can listen to when I'm working, and it just brings in the magical Christmas vibe that I'm not getting in my day-to-day existence. And what that is it's an album called Snowballs. S''NO balls. It is a joyous and sincere and R-rated Christmas album by Rudy Cassoni, and I'll tell you who he is. And it's also, and this is something that is kind of obscure in it, it's music and it's instrumentation by the recently deceased late great Andy Paley, the beloved composer, musician, TV composer, whose work includes The Ren and Stimpy Show, Digimon, Camp Lazlo, and the It's a SpongeBob SquarePants Christmas album. So that's the guy that did the music on it. Cassoni is actually character actor Toby Huss, who you will recognize. He's one of these character actors that everybody knows. And when I tell you who he is, if you don't know this, this will blow your mind. Toby Huss, you'll recognize from Halt and Catch Fire, that show. He was on the Nickelodeon series The Adventures of Pete and Pete. I only recently learned this. On King of the Hill, he is both Con and Cotton Hill. He's the voices of those. And he was Felix in Carnival. So he gets around. People of our age, though, not primarily, but secondarily, will know him as the Whiz Guy from the episode of Seinfeld. I'm the Whiz! that was him. But the coolest credit for my money is that he was the MTV lounge singer in the 1990s spots where he was singing grunge and hip hop songs. Jeremy Spoken, that cuckoo crazy kid. You know who I'm talking about.
He's got a gun.
He's speaking all over the place. Damn you, Bourbon. I'm doing a bad job of it. But so this is a guy who's been in the periphery of all kinds of great things. He's a great talent, and he also does a mean Sinatra. And on this album, that is the mode he's in. You know, there's a lot of real sincere classic Christmas jazzy vibe to it, except he's singing rated R stuff for the most part. The two keepers on the album are songs called Drinky, Dranky, Drunky, which is not very offensive. And there's one called Beware, Beware, which is juvenile and probably very offensive. But man, it is a happy song. I feel like if I were trying to sell it to me, I would quote some lyrics, but because I'm trying to sell it to the rest of your audiences who are not 12 years old internally, I'm not going to. But this album, Snowballs, is, like I said, it's joyous, it's happy, it's sincere, it's R-rated. It's a satire of Christmas music, but it's very much a celebration of Christmas music that is about the kind of adult stuff that we like to talk about when we're not being recorded.
Yeah, man.
So that's a great album. It's the kind of thing you don't get anymore as a production, a musical production, but it's got stuff that'll make you laugh too.
You know, kind of along those lines, Darby McGill and the Little People have a holiday EP that has a version of Baby It's Cold Outside, which leans into the controversy, shall we say.
Little risque?
A little risque. Not very risque. Very poor taste, let's put it that way.
Yeah, so in this season where I'm very challenged for the Christmas vibe, I mean, that's really delivering it for me. It's single-handedly keeping my Christmas fires lit. Snowballs, Rudy Cassoni, Toby Huss, Andy Paley, R.I.P.
Nice.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. And there's some absolute bangers on there that, again, I probably won't quote. I love it. My final, like, this is now 3 years growing, and it only grows stronger and stronger. And this year they've kind of, something happened that kind of fueled it even more. It's almost like giving a crack to a crackhead, and that is, guys, I apologize in advance, but I've really, 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 really gotten into Hallmark Christmas movies. There's something about how formulaic and stupid and just borderline nonsense these things are that just fill me with so much joy. It all started with a film called Love Under the Christmas Table, I believe.
Hey, no need to explain, brother. I mean, you can drop it right there. But I mean, if you want to talk about it some more, for those who have not accepted the magic into their hearts, proceed.
The Love Under the Christmas Table was like or Love at the Christmas Table. I just had to look it up. Is the one that kind of kicked things off.
That's a different movie, Love Under the Table.
That's right. It stars Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper, and of course, because she's in 50 million of these, and Dustin Milligan, who was on Schitt's Creek. And it, like, there's always some storyline in here that just absolutely comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, wait, what? Like, who wrote this? Like, it's almost like it was put together by AI. There
is a very well-defined script formula for that. There's a format where you hit certain things and you do certain things, and within that framework is great creativity.
Someone actually shared me the Hallmark Bible, the do's and don'ts, and I'm not going to lie, I might write one.
One of my back burner projects is writing one. So if you're out there and you want a movie about a metal person finding love at Christmas, heavy metal.
That's it.
Nate, I just dropped the link into the chat for you. It's a New York Times article called "How I Aged into the Bad Christmas Movie."
Oh God, I can't wait to read it. One of the new ones that I watched this year was Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story, which is all built around the Kansas City Chiefs. And but like the
Why is
cast,
that? Any reason for that?
why that one?
Probably just a coincidence.
Well, I'll tell you exactly why that one. And this isn't the one. The one you might be thinking of the one. There's one that's actually supposed to be Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. That's not this
Okay,
one.
that's
This
what
one's
I'm
a little
thinking
different.
about.
Yeah, that is. But the crack to the crackhead that I was talking about is ever since I interviewed Skylar Fisk, star of the Hallmark Plus series, The Chicken Sisters, they now send me screeners. And so I get like 2 Hallmark Christmas movies a week. And what am I going to do? Not fucking watch them? Like,
Careful what you wish for, Nate.
This is some bleeding edge Christmas entertainment technology here.
it's crazy. Like they churn stuff out fast, man. It's wild.
It's a fascinating cultural genre.
The one of the ones that I haven't watched yet, but I just want you to hear just the madness of this storyline. This is called "'Tis the Season to Be Irish." It should be out now. Okay.
I feel so
Rose
seen.
is a nomadic house flipper who heads to Ireland at the holidays to renovate and sell a cottage she found online and bought for a steal. But her plans are upended when she meets Jawn, a local realtor determined to preserve his town's heritage. Like, what are we doing? Like,
This is Hallmark you're talking? Listen, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go watch this immediately. I'll see you next year.
It's unbelievable, and it's so schlocky and perfect that like much like you were saying with You Got Mail, like no one's gonna die, everybody's gonna be happy in the end, and we're gonna celebrate, and there's gonna be a snowfall because I think that's one of the things that has to happen in these things is it has to snow at some point.
With some of my favorite stuff, I feel they make me feel both condescended to and seen at the same time.
It's so true. It's so true. God, like it's just it's the magic of Christmas that like I think cheese sells. I think cheese is like what I'm looking for, for the most part.
It's comfort food.
That's exactly right.
It's comfort food.
So, these are the things we like. And
wait, I don't get to do my number 3?
Wait, didn't you start it
Fuck
off?
you, Nate.
Didn't you
Fuck
start
you,
off?
Dave.
Yeah,
I'm out of here.
Didn't
We'll
he
see you
start
see you next year, Jay.
No, then go to number 3. I thought you started off number 3.
Well, my number 1 then. I don't get to do my number 1?
I thought you started it off. It's my fault. It's my fault. Look,
You
I'm a bad
skipped
host.
over my
And
last-
that's a wrap. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
No, do it. Your love. I'm sorry. My apologies.
So my number 1, Dave will tell you this is indisputably true. I've spent a lot of time on Ancestry.com digging
He's
around
good at it.
family stuff. And, part of the reason is, a lot of families, they pass down traditions, they talk about stuff, they share family history. We did not do that.
Not ours, but
It was deemed, quote unquote, not important. So a lot of it has just been building stuff from scratch and trying to find out as much as I can from publicly accessible records. And one of the wonderful things that happened to me this past year was one of our cousins, Joe, who first cousin once removed, a little bit older than us, our dad's cousin, who I just assumed was dead, turned out not to be dead. And I had a great phone call with him. And he was he's probably like the last person alive who has firsthand knowledge, or not knowledge, but, firsthand memories of our great grandparents who were the ones who came over from Ireland and England and came to this country, which seemed like a good idea at the time, but that's another subject. But one of the great things he told me was that our great grandparents were Christmas people, and and he was able to tell me like, well, your grandmother would always sing a traditional song called "The Friendly Beasts," and together our great grandparents would sing a song called "Once in David's Royal City." And, just to have that firsthand knowledge and to be able to, go to, iTunes and type in those songs and be able to pull not those versions of them actually singing because they were not recording artists, but to find that Sufjan Stevens, of course, has awesome versions of both of those songs. And to be able to, listen to those and, kind of imagine that.
And bam, there it is, 100 years of Christmas tradition where we thought there were none.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was some genuine archaeology on your part, man. You unearthed that, you found that, you put it on display.
Yeah. And, Dave and I have, kind of this whole off-color narrative about our great-grandfather, James Moran, who we refer to as Jimmy Moran, and all the crazy, wacky shit he did that made him have to move from Ireland to the United States because reasons. But, one of the things I found out from talking to family members is he was apparently like a super good guy. He was like a really good guy. And one of the things Joe told me about him was, they came to Boston. They were not well off by any means. They were, just working class Irish. But they had a neighbor who had even less than they did. And one Christmas, James Moran, our great-grandfather, took all the presents that he had assembled for his family and gave it to the family next door that was even worse off than they were. And you hear that kind of thing, you're like, well, fuck, how can I live up to that?
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And
make a Christmas mix and send links to your friends. That's about the same thing.
Maybe one day my great-grandchildren will do that.
But it's really telling that my two closest Christmas aficionados come from a lineage of just pure Christmas love.
Yeah, there really is a genetic component to it. I mean, I don't think that anybody would ever look at our dad and guess that he was a Christmas guy. Similarly, the late, great Jeff Hanneman from Slayer, who I've been spending so much time writing about, he was a Christmas guy. Some people are Christmas people, some are not.
It's awesome.
But I mean, that does blow my mind that there's a genetic and historical component to us liking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and such.
It's a thing of beauty. Since I seemingly almost skipped that beautiful number one story, James, why don't you kick off the hates? The dislikes, strong dislikes.
I actually have three.
Okay.
And we don't have to talk about each one of them, but I kind of dislike all of them equally.
These aren't ethnic groups, are they?
Oh, okay.
Then one. I have
move
one.
on to you then. Number one, the Irish. No, so the three dislikes in no particular order. We mentioned this on the very first Christmas podcast we did. I got no love for the song Blue Christmas. I just can't get into it. Not my thing.
Well, he sings that Donnie Irish. You got to listen to his version, and he'll bring you on into it.
I've listened to Donnie's version. Not my thing. But then again, not everything.
Give Donnie some respect.
Yeah. So that's my first dislike. The other one, Jimmy Fallon. Like just stop.
Well, you see, he's a guy you should hate all year round, and
yeah, but especially come Christmas time, you see him on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. You see him.
Why you got to bring that up?
He's got his own Christmas channel on XM Radio, and it is the most pandering bullshit ever. I can't even muster up a defense of him at all, and I usually can do that for anybody.
The comedian, I've sent you guys this clip. I don't think it's you can't find it on YouTube now. The comedian Drew Michael, Drew Michael, former Saturday Night Live writer, he has a monologue about Jimmy Fallon that just I could quote it, but I could never deliver it the way he can. If you hate Jimmy Fallon, look up the Drew Michael special on HBO, the longer one. And he tears Fallon a new one accurately.
And my third dislike, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
What are you, some kind of a communist?
Maybe.
I'm leaving this show right now.
We had this conversation in text. It's not my thing either. Like, I don't dislike it. I just don't get it. I don't understand why.
Some kind of communist?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, like its status as a modern era classic, like,
because it is.
I don't get it either. Like, I don't understand the fascination with it. It's, it's kind of like the apex in a way of, the 80s inconsequential movie of no real consequence, which doesn't make it bad in and of itself. But like, I don't get why. I mean, I guess I kind of do get why people love it, because that's the reason people love it, you know?
Well, you see, the thing is that you two don't like good things or life itself or culture. So there you go. Succinct explanation.
Oh,
I mean,
that's what it is.
it's not a hill I'm willing to die on. I'm not going to argue against it with anybody who has love for it. You know, I was watching it last night on TV, and you know, there's the scene that's right after the Christmas meltdown where the tree catches on fire, and you know, Clark has his breakdown, but it's before Randy Quaid comes back with his boss, you know, hogtied. And, you know, Clark is still there. He's cut down the tree from the yard, and he's still trying to make Christmas happen. And I watched that, and I was like, you know what? That's a touching sequence right there. You know, everything's going bad, but he's still there trying to make it happen for everybody else. So I'll give it that, you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. DX, what do you got for a dislike?
Yeah, I'll keep it succinct. I hate, and I know that some of them are historically part of it, but it just drives me crazy, drives me up a wall. I hate, we'll say dislike because it's Christmas. I cannot abide, Nathan, James, I cannot abide the non-canon lyrics to Jingle Bells. The women in the background singing, I like a sleigh ride, I like a sleigh ride. Hate that. I hate that, and the stuff they drop into the verses, the extra verse, about the horse nature of it. You know, hitch a bobtail babe to a 40 and get weed. Hitch it to an open sleigh and crack, you'll take the lead, whatever it is. You know, they may be traditional. They may have once been part of it. I hate them. The non-canon lyrics to Jingle Bells, drop that stuff. They cut them for a reason. The song works as it is. You don't need to add to it. Leave Jingle Bells alone.
Yeah, on that tip, I also actively dislike people who start the 12 days of Christmas on December 13th. That's not when the 12 days of Christmas begin. 12 days of Christmas begin on December 25th. It is historical fact. Look it up, people.
Yeah.
Well said.
St. Stephen.
Well said.
What do you hate, Nate?
So mine,
Nate's Christmas hate.
I was originally,
Hate Runkle.
I ran an audible on this because I was originally going to say one of my hates, but it's not an actual hate. It's just a full-on anxiety. I don't like gifts. I don't like getting gifts. Like I like giving gifts, but I don't like getting gifts because it fills me with like some sort of dread that like, wait, was I supposed to get this person a gift? Like who was I supposed to get a gift? I don't understand. I don't understand the gifting rules. I'm just not a gifting person. Like I just do, like, can we just all just not gift people? Anyway, like just get a gift if you want to get someone a gift. I don't know. It's anxiety. But the one thing that I actively hate at Christmas time, and I should ruin it for everybody right now who partakes in it, but this whole new Wham! Last Christmas bullshit, this Whamageddon shit, get the fuck out of here with this, all right? Not just Whamageddon either. The song Last Christmas, it's not fucking good. The verse has no melody line to it. There's no cadence to the singing. They're just jamming as many words as they can to get to this bullshit chorus that they got. And I don't understand. I don't understand when it became a thing. Like it became a thing within like the past 5 years. I don't know if it was when Jimmy Eat World did a cover of it or whatnot. I don't know. But fucking get out of here with Last Christmas. And then you goddamn sent me Machine Gun Kelly doing an emo version of Last Christmas, and I thought it was going to send me out into traffic, for Christ's sake. I thought it was over. I thought I was done.
There's a guy, I forget the artist's name, but he's taking George Michael and Wham songs, not just Last Christmas, but then inserting new Christmas lyrics into them.
Oh my God.
Ugh, there ought to be a law.
He takes Freedom, and the chorus is now Christmas.
I was going to, when you said that, I was going to say, what is he going to say? Christmas? But
yeah, that's what he says.
it's literally ridiculous.
I don't get it. Guys, I don't get it. Like, it's just it's a weird thing to get hung up on. I understand. I recognize it. But like when certain things enter, you know, much like you were saying with National Lampoons, like when certain things enter the Christmas canon, and I'm like, I didn't vote for this. I didn't say, at no point did I ask for this.
This is not my Christmas.
Yeah, no. And and sometimes,
well, you see, Nate, you don't get to pick and choose what parts of Christmas you like.
I think
No,
I do.
no,
I
you
think
do
that's literally
actually.
this
You do.
episode.
Sorry.
I think that's
I meant that
literally
statement.
what we're doing. Oh my God, I love it. No, but like I said, one of my great Christmas loves is doing this every year with you guys. I very much enjoy spending the time with you, breaking down one of our favorite holidays, if not favorite holiday. And I can't thank you guys enough for doing
It's
it every
fun.
year.
It's a magical time every
It
year.
is. Look forward to it every year.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, as always, I appreciate you guys. Nate, again, if you're just joining us, Nate is my brother's best friend from college. And I went up and partied with those guys a couple times, and they have been gracious about accepting me into their little circle from time to time and letting me play in their sandbox. And I appreciate it because they're fun guys, and I love my brother, and Nate's awesome too.
We gave you one of the best shows you've ever been to in our
Absolutely.
kitchen.
And you didn't even remember being there.
I remember one of them, and that's for subscribers only.
That's right. That's right. What do you guys got? Anything going on? Anything you want to pitch? Anything you want these people to check out?
No, I don't do anything creative. I just work. So, but Dave's got some stuff going on.
Man, go to Amazon and look for DX Ferris. Christmas things I got a book full of Christmas comic strips with the F word peppered throughout them. So that's not so much a stocking stuffer, that it'll help you get in the mood for Christmas. We still got a few days here. I got a book about Goodfellas that has a couple hundred very short chapters in it. Great bathroom reader. So if you're one of those people that thinks Goodfellas is or is not a Christmas movie, or if you have a strong opinion about Goodfellas, it makes a good gift for the Goodfellas people in your life. So that's one. And God willing, knock on wood, this time next week I'm going to have an updated version of my Slayer band biography available on Amazon. The current edition of it, the third edition, is 136,000 words. The new one is closer to like 180,000. Stuff from all over their history. Current version has like 33 images in it. The new one has like 75 images and pictures. Really busted my ass on this thing. The current edition has like 450 research and endnote citations. The new version has 730, 750, something like that. So if you like Slayer, it's available cheap on Amazon, much bigger than the last one. Caught a lot of things, fixed a lot of things, added a lot of things. It's a tremendous one. Got different versions. Got a short version, got a big one, oversized. Slayer Christmas for you. It's all there.
Anything?
Tie it all together. You said Jeff Hanneman, late great Jeff Hanneman, was a Christmas guy. Do I recall correctly that he refused to tour come Christmas time?
Yeah, he didn't want to be on the road in December. He wanted to be home eating cookies and looking at lights and presumably watching Trailer Park Boys or something like that.
It's awesome. What and anything you want to share that's in this updated version that wasn't in the past one?
Man, so the last one dropped right before there was news of their reunion. So the new one has more than 7 new chapters, but the new chapters cover the band's reunion, covers Kerry King's solo band. One of the guys from the band spun off into his own thing. It's a close examination and deconstruction of how those two events affect each other. There's a recap of the reunion concerts they did, because Slayer looked like they were going to be the one band ever that broke up and stayed broken up. And that lasted for 5 years, and then it didn't happen. It's got stuff from all over their history, in-depth, detailed recaps of some of their landmark concerts where things happened, like guys jumped off the balcony and went through the stage. All kinds of details, much more detailed looks at the individual members, their background, what makes them tip or what makes them tick. A lot of great incendiary quotes about Dave Mustaine and what a nutty guy he is. Something for everybody. It's not just about Slayer. It's a metal, thrash metal history. Hey, and also it's been translated into Russian by our friends at Bombara Press. So if you read Russian and you're a Slayer fan, check that out too.
Who's the communist now?
Hey, I for one welcome our new red overlords.
That's awesome. That's incredible.
How about you, Nate? Where can we find your stuff?
On my end, if you listen to this very early Monday morning, December 16th, tonight is my return to Why Not Radio. I'll be back on there sharing my top 20 songs of 2024. Some shocking things on there for myself. I was surprised what showed up in my favorites when I broke it down. But also that top 20 list, as well as my top 10 albums of the year, will be out this week. I mentioned Christmas Jawn's Volume 3 playlist. That'll be up. The link will be in the show notes to this episode. Plus, it'll be all over the socials.
You got to get Alex Horms on the show.
I gotta send the feelers out. And the Too Old Too New with Nate and Bruce. We'll have a new episode. We're working on reuniting Dan DeLuca and Dan Reed, the hosts of the Dan and Dan Music podcast that was one of the formative music podcasts that I listened to for years before they broke up. And we're trying to put them back together for a year-end episode. So that should be coming out. And then the very final behind-the-scenes episode of Oops All Bards, the actual play podcast where we break down the finale, the season 1 finale, will also be out. So keep an eye out for all of those. You can find me on the socials at Yo That's My Jawn. You can find us up on YouTube. You can find this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you like, rate, review, and share. If anybody wants to track you guys down on the socials, what's the best way to find you?
Can't find me. I'm a ghost.
Just DX Ferris at whatever. Look around. It's easy enough to find. My kind of catch-all everything domain, checkoutmybutt.com.
I love it.
Wait. I did have a single post on Blue Sky this year.
Hey!
Check it out.
It's better than Twitter.
I love it. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for doing this. People, thank you for tuning in. And like I said, share this. Let everybody know. Share the holiday spirit. And, and of course, the dumbest thing that I completely forgot. This Friday, December 20th, was the Jawn Before Christmas 5. The ukulele sing-along. We'll be doing that again. And, so tune in.
What time is that?
That's a good question. I should name that. Let's say, how's 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock good for you?
Yeah.
We'll arrive at 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for your time. I hope we brought a little bit of Christmas spirit to you.
Merry Christmas,
and check out Rudy Cassoni.
That's my Jawn! Displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. You taste it, things that don't need to be measured.
Yo, That's My Jawn is a Lonely Monk production. Written and produced by yours truly, Nate Runkle. Theme song by me, under the moniker Nate 3.0. Special thanks to Fox Run Brands, DX Ferris, Andrew Scott, Maggie Poulos, Dan Drago, Natalie Runkle, and the beautifully vibrant and wickedly stunning Katie Daubney. If you or anyone you know has any ideas they would like to share or any guests they would like to hear on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at yothat'smyjawn@gmail.com or hit us up on the socials at Yo That's My Jawn. Until next time, be sure to displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. Tilt your head back and shout to the world, Yo, that's my Jawn.